Accounting is possibly the most confusing, boring subject in the world, but if you want to be rich long term, it could be the most important subject. An asset is something that puts money in my pocket. A liability is something that takes money out of my pocket. An intelligent person hires people who are more intelligent than he is. Excessive fear and self-doubt, that were the greatest detractors of personal genius. Going into our fear, and confronting our greed, our weaknesses, our neediness is the way out. And the way out is through the mind, by choosing our thoughts. How can I afford it? Opened up the brain, and forced it to think, and search for answers. In the real world outside of academics, something more than just grades is required. I have heard it called guts, boldness, audacity, cunning, daring, tenacity and brilliance. This factor, whatever it is labeled, ultimately decides one's future much more than school grades. Just know that it's fear that keeps most people working at a job. The fear of not paying their bills. The fear of being fired. The fear of not having enough money. The fear of starting over. That's the price of studying to learn a profession or trade, and then working for money. Most people become a slave to money, and then get angry at their boss. Leadership is what you need to learn next. Learn to use your emotions to think, not think with your emotions. Life is much like going to the gym. The most painful part is deciding to go. Once you get past that, it's easy. Life is sometimes tough, when you do not fit the standard profile. Most people fail to realize that in life, it's not how much money you make, it's how much money you keep. Sometimes you win, and sometimes you learn. But have fun. Most people never win, because they're more afraid of losing. The poor and the middle class work for money. The rich have money, and money work for them. There is a difference between being poor and being broke. Broke is temporary. Poor is eternal. There is always risk, so learn to manage risk, instead of avoiding it. They get up every day, and go work for money, not taking the time to ask the question, is there another way? Today, wealth is in information. And the person who has the most timely information, owns the wealth. You must know the difference between an asset and a liability, and buy assets. If you want to be rich, this is all you need to know. It is rule number 1. It is the only rule. This may sound absurdly simple, but most people have no idea how profound this rule is. Most people struggle financially because they do not know the difference between an asset and a liability. Rich people acquire assets. The poor and middle class acquire liabilities that they think are assets.